Greetings YouTube, and I'm back with a review of the Moto X. Okay, a quick overview of the specs of the Moto X. It has the basic stuff that you would have with a little bit of upgrade. Some stuff not as great as the newer phones, but when you see in my review, it won't matter. It has Bluetooth 4.0, Wi-Fi 802.11, ABGN, and a new AC, and it's dual band, DLNA, and Wi-Fi hotspot support, of course. NFC. It has a 22 milliamp hour battery. You can get it in 16 or 32 gigabytes of storage, 2 gigabytes of RAM. It records both the rear and front facing camera, record in 1080p. The rear facing camera, the primary camera, is a 10 megapixel camera, and the front facing camera is a 2 megapixel camera. It's running Android 4.22 Jelly Bean. If I didn't say that before, I can't remember. It has a Qualcomm Snapdragon Pro chipset, a dual-core 1.0 gigahertz crate processor. The GPU is a Adreno 320, and the same one, believe, that's in the Nexus 4. It has Corning Gorilla Glass, so it's a pretty decent phone. Pixel density is not as high as the HTC One, but it looks really good. Having a look around the Motorola X, you have a microphone in the front, your front-facing camera, speaker, your sensor. On the bottom, you have your standard micro USB that's centered, a centered 3.5 millimeter headphone connection on the top, along with another microphone on the bottom, on the back, AT&T logo, a Motorola logo that's kind of concaved, a speaker grill, your 10 megapixel camera, I should say, excuse me, and your LED flash. You have your SIM ejection tray, which houses a nano SIM, and on the other side you have your volume rocker and your power, which I kind of like, and it feels real good in the hand. One thing that's weird, not really weird, but different about this phone is it has a slight, really small raised area around the outside of the screen, or the edge of the screen, which is kind of cool, especially if you want to use a screen protector. I have a screen protector on now, and you can put it on and it comes right up to the edge without coming too far over the edge. So when you want to use a case, it won't push up your screen protector because it has this slight raised area around the edge of the screen. So that's a really neat design, and I like it. This is a nice feeling phone. It's really easy holding the hand, and you have the 4.7 inch screen, which makes it really nice because it's a big screen, yet it doesn't sacrifice screen size for making it a smaller phone because you have the edge-to-edge screen design. But I really like it. I mean, I can reach, and I have big hands, so it's really probably not that bad for me, but I can reach all over the phone, and it's real comfortable in your pocket. One of the things I love about the Motorola X is its fluid operation. It's probably the most fluid operating Android phone to date that I've had. And being that it's only a dual core processor, Motorola and Google have really optimized this phone to work with the Google software, the Google operating system, and I really like it. And I hope they continue that. But give you an example, going into the Google Plus app, you can see it scrolls really smooth, real smooth. I mean, and most of my Android phones, and from Jelly Bean on, have really improved the feature as far as the smoothness in the apps. But this phone, it works really well. I mean, the best I've seen, and I really like it. I mean, you might get a few drop frames here and there when it's trying to load the data as you're scrolling, but overall, it's pretty much, I mean, it's closest to iOS that I've seen, and actually it's probably on par with iOS now, but I really like it. And that was just an example of one app. A lot of other apps are really smooth too. The YouTube app, everything is just, the operation is really fluid. And see here, go to my subscriptions, and you can see, I just want to give you an example how smooth it operates. And this is throughout a lot of apps. And this is something that really makes this phone fun. It's a nice feeling phone. It's customized the way I like it. It feels good in the hand. It's basically the Nexus 4 with LTE, really. I mean, and with a better design because you design it yourself. But I really like it. It's probably my favorite phone. I'm really glad I got it. And I know I say that probably on every phone I get because I'm a phone guy, but this to date is my favorite phone, even better than the HTC One and the S4. And what I just like it because it, you know, the fluid operation, and I really, like I said before, I really hope Google and Motorola continue. A little bit of stutter there, but it's trying to load the content, so it's gonna stutter a little bit, but it's very smooth. I mean, a lot smoother than I've had from Android devices in the past, and it's something that I really enjoy. But I think you'll really like it. I mean, that's one of the advantages of this phone. You know, it doesn't have the best hardware, but I mean, it doesn't really need it actually. And then, like normal stock devices, and I consider this a stock device, it has touch controls and the other Motorola Assist and small other features, but to me this is stock Android basically. But you have your home, your back button, your multitasking button right here where you can phone this fast, and it's really nice. That's why I said I don't think they've really optimized this phone to work well with Android, and I really like it. It's really neat, you know, and you can just see how fast and fluid it is. Here's a look at the notification area where you have on the Moto X where it illuminates using the AMOLED screen, and it only illuminates the sections you want to see, which is the time or any notifications that you might have, and you can tap it and quickly view it. And I have an app for my team, the Chiefs, and it's notifying me of something. Today is game day, so you can either swipe it away or swipe up and view it. It's Chiefs Mobile, and it just tells you, you know, just telling me what time the game starts and all that. But a lot of apps, most apps, when you install them, you can ask them, do you want to enable notifications? And it's just when you enable notifications, your notifications will show up on the lock screen just like I showed. So it's pretty neat. Just like versus seeing them in the pane, you know, the drop down, you'll see them on the lock screen with the screen lock without having to unlock your phone. So that's a real neat feature. Okay, we're going to give an example of the camera, and you can operate the camera or launch the camera app by a quick flick of the wrist, and it'll vibrate, and then when it vibrates you'll know the camera has launched. And it's not the easiest. You got to really twitch it pretty firmly, pretty hard before it to work. It takes some practice, but once you get figure out how you have to do it, it's pretty easy. You can swipe over, and here's your menu. Swipe, kind of scroll up this way, and you can see more options. Right here is the quick capture, excuse me, that I just demonstrated, where you can twist your wrist and launch the camera. You have your speaker. What is that? That's a geotag. Panorama, slow motion video, touch to focus, HDR and flash. Touch to focus, or tap to focus I should say, is pretty neat, especially if you're not real good at taking pictures like myself. Just kind of tap it and it focuses and takes the picture at the same time. And then just like other versions of Android or stock Android, shrink it down and swipe up if you don't want the picture. And this is a picture I took of my cat with and it was at nighttime with the a lamp, so it was kind of in low light situation, and it's actually pretty good, pretty decent picture. Not bad. Not as good as the S4 or the iPhone, but it's good enough for me. Okay, and now I'm going to give you some examples of some video and pictures I took. Okay, like other reviews, I'll give you an example of the touchless control. So here goes. Okay, Google now. Call Carabas.
Calling Carabas at work. Calling.
Okay, Google now. What is the population of Atlanta, Georgia?
The population of Atlanta was 432,400 in 2011.
Okay, Google now. Who is the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Andy Reid is head coach of Kansas City Chiefs.
And those are just some simple things. Let's try one more thing. Okay, Google now. Set an alarm for 4:30 a.m. Friday.
Setting alarm.
So you can see Google now has advanced and it works really well on the Moto X. And what I really like about the Moto X is the voice control seems to work a lot better than previous versions of Android using Google Now. And Google Now is pretty good, but it seems to work really, really well on this phone. And it's another thing I really like about it. And I find myself using the touchless controls a lot. Another thing that I wanted to mention, or another thing I wanted to mention, I should say, is the storage options for this phone. What I really like is you can get it in a 32 gigabyte, not just 8 or 16. And I got the 32, so I feel like I want to have as much storage as possible. But the total space you get is about, excuse the glare, but the total space you'll get is about 26 gigabytes out of the box after the operating system and apps take up space. So that's not bad. You're not going to get the full 32. Having a look at the music app, that's another thing that operates really smooth and I really like. And I like the new Google Music. So it's really cool. You know, it operates real smooth. And like I said, it operates a lot better if you buy the music from Google Play. I mean, it seems like it. Some of my uploaded music doesn't sound as good, but the music you buy off of Google Play, and if you optimize it, I mean, it seems that if you set it for high quality, I should say, it sounds a lot better. Only thing I don't like is you can't really adjust the equalizer once you select a auto effect when you have it on. It just does what it wants. And you can change different, like it has bass punch. If I'm playing hip hop, it kind of changes on its own to what you're listening to. And you can change it to balance, which is how I like it, but it won't stay that way. That's kind of irritating, but overall, it sounds really decent. I like it. So I wouldn't, I can't fault that. That's not a downer. It's a kind of a downer, but it's not a deal breaker. I would prefer to be able to control my own music, but that's just me. But overall, the quality in the ear when you're wearing like in ear over the ear or in ear headphones, it's pretty good. It's not real loud. It's nowhere near as loud or good sounding as the HTC One, but I mean the HTC One is amplified with Beats audio, so you kind of expect that. But it's actually pretty good and not that bad. Okay, I can't do a review without doing a speed test, so let's swipe down and we'll turn off Wi-Fi. And as you can see, it's just like stock Android. You have your quick settings. Swipe down with 2 fingers or swipe down with 1 and hit the square in the top and rotate it and access your quick settings. You can turn off Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, put it in airplane mode. You see I have before when I gave you an example of the Google Now or the touchless control using Google Now. You can see it has my alarm that I set for 4:30. But anyway, I get really good AT&T reception in my city, so it should be pretty decent. Let's see. And Motorola has some really strong radios. That's what I really like about it. Okay, that's pretty good. And I've gotten a lot higher. So I'm getting about 15 point, almost 16. I think the highest I've gotten is like 40 on the north side of Atlanta. Let's do one more. Pretty decent speeds. So I'm getting about 20, almost 21 right here. So I can't complain about that at all. And I've gotten better results. And let's see, I've done a lot of them. And I may have cleared it. But I had one of these tests in here where I had like a 40. I don't see it in here now, but you get pretty decent speeds in my city on AT&T. Another thing that's neat about it is the Motorola radios are really strong. I have a Bluetooth headset, and I can walk all around my house doing chores, and it won't cut out. Whereas on the HTC One or the Galaxy S4, it cuts out as soon as I leave the room. Almost, it's cutting out. I mean, it's pretty decent, and I thought it was a headset at first, but once I paired it to this phone, I realized this phone has a lot stronger radios, and you generally get that with Motorola phones. Overall, I think the Motorola X is a great phone. My favorite Android phone to date. I really like how Google and Motorola have optimized the software to work with the hardware, and I hope they keep it up, even with the rumored Nexus 5, which I can't wait to try out and compare it to this phone. But right now, this is my phone, and I really like it. And I think you'll like it too if you try it out for yourself. But anyway, thank you for watching my video, and have a nice day.